Hi guys, today we're going to delve into a harrowing case that shook Italy to its core. The Lissi family tragedy. What drove a seemingly devoted family man to commit such heinous acts? How can one identify a psychopath? In this episode, we will explore the dark depths of psychopathy and unravel the horrifying events that transpired on that fateful night. The Lissi family tragedy not only captivated Italy, but also gained international attention for its shocking brutality and psychological complexity. As we delve deeper into this case, it becomes essential to understand the nuances of the human mind that can lead to such horrifying actions. Psychopathy, often misunderstood and misrepresented, plays a central role in this narrative. By examining this case, we aim to shed light on the dark corners of the human psyche and provide insights into recognizing the signs of psychopathy before tragedy strikes. Psychopathy is a personality disorder marked by distinct traits such as a lack of empathy, emotional shallowness, egocentrism, and deceitful charm. Psychopaths are adept at manipulating those around them, often concealing their true nature so skillfully that even those closest to them may not recognize the danger. The Lissi family tragedy is a chilling reminder of how someone perceived as a loving family member can suddenly become a remorseless perpetrator. The study of psychopathy has evolved significantly since it was first conceptualized in the early 20th century. Renowned psychologists like Hervey Cleckley and Robert Hare have contributed to our understanding by identifying key characteristics that define this disorder. Psychopaths, often highly intelligent and articulate, can mimic normal human emotions, making them exceptionally dangerous. Their lack of guilt or remorse allows them to commit acts of extreme violence without the emotional turmoil that would typically accompany such actions. In the case of Carlo Lissy, these traits were alarmingly evident, yet largely unnoticed by those around him. On the early hours of Saturday, June 14, 2014, the quiet town of Mavisanti was awakened by the desperate cries of Carlo Lissy, a 31-year-old man who appeared frightened and disoriented, pleading for someone to call the police. He claimed that intruders had broken into his home and killed his entire family while he was out with friends. However, his odd behavior and conflicting statements quickly raised suspicions. Mavisanti, a small, close-knit town in northern Italy, had never experienced a crime of this magnitude. The peaceful community was unprepared for the horror that would unfold. On the night of June 14th, 2014, the streets of Mavisanti were eerily quiet, the tranquility shattered by Carlo Lissy's desperate cries for help. Neighbors, initially sympathetic, soon became wary as inconsistencies in Carlo's story emerged. The local police, unaccustomed to handling such brutal crimes, called in forensic experts from Milan to assist in the investigation. When police and medical personnel arrived, they found Carlo's wife, Cristina, and their two children dead in their home. Carlo's behavior was peculiar. He referred to his family members as bodies before confirming their demise and showed little reaction to their deaths. Despite his claims of a robbery, the investigation revealed no signs of forced entry or theft, and Carlo soon became the prime suspect. The scene that greeted the police and medical personnel was one of unimaginable horror. Cristina Lissi and her children lay lifeless in their home, their lives brutally ended in a place meant to be their sanctuary. As the investigation unfolded, detectives noted Carlo's detachment and unusual choice of words. Referring to his loved ones as bodies was a stark indicator of his emotional disconnection. Further complicating the scene was the lack of physical evidence supporting Carlo's claims of a home invasion. No fingerprints, broken locks, or stolen items pointed towards an external perpetrator, leading investigators to focus on Carlo himself. Christina Lissi, born Christina Omas, was a strong-willed, independent, and highly ambitious woman. She had a successful career in civil insurance and a passion for theater. Despite many suitors, Christina believed she would find true love, which she thought she had with Carlo Lissy. They met when Christina was 30 and Carlo was 23, and despite initial reservations from her family, they married and had 2 children. Christina Omas, known for her vivacious personality and strong sense of independence, had carved out a successful career in the male-dominated field of civil insurance. Her involvement in local theater showcased her creativity and ability to connect with people. Friends described her as warm and nurturing, a stark contrast to the cold reality of her untimely death. Christina's marriage to Carlo, despite initial reservations from her family, seemed to fulfill her romantic ideals. However, behind the facade of a perfect family life, cracks were beginning to show, revealing the true nature of Carlo's discontent. Carlo Lissy grew up in a strict household, always striving to meet his father's high expectations. Despite his handsome appearance and superficial charm, Carlo was emotionally shallow and manipulative. He excelled in academics and sports, but was socially withdrawn and had no close friends. After university, he worked at an IT company in Milan but was dissatisfied with his career and life. Carlo's upbringing in a strict household contributed significantly to his psychological development. His father's relentless pursuit of perfection left Carlo feeling perpetually inadequate. This background fostered a deep-seated resentment and a desire to control his environment to compensate for his perceived failures. Despite his achievements in academics and sports, Carlo's social life was virtually non-existent. Colleagues from his IT job in Milan recalled him as efficient yet distant, never engaging in the camaraderie that defined the office culture. This isolation fed into his latent psychopathic tendencies, which would later manifest in his actions. To the outside world, Carlo appeared to be a devoted family man, but he led a double life. In Milan, he frequently engaged in casual affairs. Despite rumors reaching Christina, she believed his denials. However, Carlo's dissatisfaction grew, and he blamed his family for his unhappiness. Carlo's life in Milan starkly contrasted with his image as a family man. His frequent absences were attributed to work, but in reality, he spent his time indulging in fleeting romantic liaisons. These affairs were not mere acts of infidelity, but a manifestation of his need for dominance and control. Christina, despite her intelligence and intuition, remained in denial about Carlo's unfaithfulness, choosing to believe his reassurances. Carlo's growing dissatisfaction with his life and his inability to achieve the perfection he sought culminated in a toxic blend of frustration and anger directed towards his family. In early 2014, Carlo became infatuated with a new co-worker, Maria. When she rejected his advances due to his marital status, Carlo's frustration turned to dark contemplation. Realizing a divorce would be financially and emotionally burdensome, he devised a monstrous plan to eliminate his family. By early 2014, Carlo's obsession with Maria, his co-worker, had intensified. Maria's rejection based on his marital status was a blow to Carlo's ego, driving him to the brink of insanity. His contemplation of divorce was quickly dismissed due to the financial and emotional implications. Instead, he began meticulously planning the murders, researching methods to stage the crime and elude suspicion. His methodical approach to this monstrous plan, from internet searches to procuring the murder weapon, highlighted his chilling lack of empathy and moral constraint. On Friday, June 13, 2014, Carlo spent the day with his family, ensuring they were seen together in public. That night, after putting the children to bed, Carlo attacked Christina with a knife, then killed his sleeping children. He then staged a robbery, cleaned up, and went to a sports bar to establish an alibi. Friday, June 13, 2014, seemed like any other day for the Lissi family. Carlo's actions that day were calculated, designed to create an alibi. The family's outing was a facade, a final performance in Carlo's elaborate deception. That night, after sharing a seemingly normal evening, Carlo executed his plan with cold precision. The attack on Christina was brutal, followed by the swift, merciless killing of his children. He then meticulously cleaned the crime scene, disposed of evidence, and presented himself at a sports bar to solidify his alibi, all the while showing no signs of the atrocity he had committed. Carlo's staged robbery quickly unraveled under investigation. There were no signs of forced entry or theft, and his inconsistent statements and lack of genuine emotion were suspicious. Blood splatters on his clothes and a damning video recording further incriminated him. His internet search history revealed his premeditated plans. As investigators delved deeper, the inconsistencies in Carlo's story became glaringly apparent. His calm demeanor and lack of genuine grief stood in stark contrast to the horrific nature of the crime. Forensic analysis quickly dismantled his robbery claim, with the lack of forced entry and the absence of stolen goods. Blood spatter analysis and fibers found on Carlo's clothing linked him to the crime scene. A breakthrough came when detectives discovered Carlo's internet search history, revealing searches on how to commit murder and stage a robbery, providing incontrovertible evidence of premeditation. Despite his claims of innocence, Carlo's behavior and confessions revealed his psychopathy. He showed no remorse for his actions, driven solely by his desire to be with Maria without the burden of his family. A psychiatric evaluation confirmed he was sane and fully aware of his actions. Carlo's attempts to feign innocence crumbled under the weight of mounting evidence. Psychological evaluations revealed a man devoid of empathy, whose actions were driven by a singular focus on self-gratification. Despite his claims, Carlo's behavior during interrogations and court proceedings underscored his psychopathy. He displayed no remorse, maintaining a cold, detached demeanor throughout. The court-appointed psychiatrist concluded that while Carlo understood the nature and consequences of his actions, his psychopathic traits rendered him incapable of genuine remorse, sealing his fate as a dangerous individual. In January 2015, Carlo Lissy was sentenced to life in prison. The Lissi family tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the potential for darkness within those we trust. It also highlights the chilling reality of psychopathy, where a seemingly normal individual can harbor such malevolent intentions. The sentencing of Carlo Lissy in January 2015 to life imprisonment brought some closure to the community of Mavisanti. However, the scars left by this tragedy run deep, serving as a cautionary tale about the hidden dangers of psychopathy. This case underscores the importance of understanding and recognizing the signs of psychopathy, both in personal relationships and within society. As we reflect on the Lissi family tragedy, we are reminded of the profound impact of unchecked psychological disorders and the critical need for vigilance and intervention to prevent such horrors in the future. This was the horrible story about the family Lissi. Do you want more to know about family crime? Subscribe and like my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.